So with that, we move on to our fourth match, Purple versus Gallon. Already a really interesting pick. For the first time in Grandmasters, TJ.
Protect Warlock.
We've had a Protect Warlock strategy. I've been actually bringing this up. Zoo Warlock's always been banned, but it's never been Protect. And now, Gallon will protect and attack.
He will.
With the Zoo Warlock.
I mean,
up
maybe
against
he'll
Purple.
attack. We don't know. Maybe.
Oh, I hope so.
Maybe he will not play. That's also the third very.
Here's another thing.
Not often spoken about.
It goes one level deeper. We've had Shaman protected and Shaman banned, and then Zoo Warlock protected and Zoo Warlock banned.
Which means that the first game is very likely to be a Warrior Mirror. I think that's what it comes down to.
Well, the reason why I pointed that out is because whenever you see banned on the left means that the opponent on the other side banned it. No, the first game we're going to see Purple bring the Quest Shaman. And TJ, the more I play Quest Shaman, the more I'm in love with the deck.
It's good. It is very good. And this is one of the versions that I like the best. I know you're not a huge fan of Former Champ, I think.
Nope, it's Admiral.
Oh, Admiral's not a fan of huge Former
He hates the mutate list, and I said that I didn't like it at first, but I'm coming around on it. And then I realized, TJ, that there's no such thing as honor and defeat. Glory and honor goes to the winner, pretty much. It's like a 100-to-0 ratio. And as long as it's done honorably, of course. If everyone's going to cheese you on ladder, you cheese them right back. Mutate with the Flesh Mogu Shaper and the Former Champ is pretty cheesy, right?
In my opinion, though, that is a few specific iterations in an otherwise pretty cool and well-rounded deck. That's a cheese option. Whereas Murloc Paladin is an entire.
Just really depends. It's like drawing the barns. It's like drawing the barns.
It's It's Barnes Hunter. The old Barnes.
Yeah, Gashara.
Gashara's Hunter.
Right. And I feel very similar in that, like, it is an option to fight fire with fire, and I like it. Zoo Warlock has the early 8/8 that goes out on turn 3, as long as you have a Lackey on board, so 7/7. You know, Shaman has the mutate, Paladin has the prismatic lens,
Priest has
the inner fire,
Priest.
Priest stuff. Like, you gotta adapt. It's not Shaman being silly or weird or anything or too greedy. It's like you're just doing what the meta is telling you to do. If the meta wasn't so board centric where you need to win immediately like that, you wouldn't really need to play the mutate stuff. Right? You'd play more combo cards or more greed or more options.
Did you mention Rogue? Rogue has Myros?
Yeah, Rogue has Myros or like the... I mean, Rogue, to be quite, like, outside of Myros, Rogue is a fairly honest deck right now, which is really weird to say, despite it being, like, killing on turn 6 so often.
Remember Backspace Rogue?
Yeah. Very interesting stuff. Either way, not to get too distracted. Purple with the Questing Explorer, which Questing Explorer on 2, I've realized, is oftentimes the best thing you can do as a Quest Shaman. I used to think Evil Totem was really good, but Evil Totem doesn't develop your quest. And the difference of pushing your quest by 1 or 2 is a really big deal for the Shaman player. Evil Totem, I feel like, is really good if it goes uncontested, obviously. But the only time I'm really happy with Evil Totem is when I can point it out.
Yeah.
On turn 1. Yeah. Outside of that, I'd rather have a 2/3 on 2 and then just like play other stuff like Evil Red and whatnot.
Quest complete for Gallon. And he's got some nice follow-up too here with War Druid Lodi play next turn into Nourish plus a Nubisat Defender. Ramp up his mana, draw some cards, have some ward.
Oh, that's interesting.
Order lull.
So Purple has the option of... Oh, I took you really seriously. Purple has the option to set up before the Barista, and it is purely dependent on whether or not he feels like he has to read that Gallon is holding the Starfall in the opening hand.
What to do?
And it's like a risk, you know, because even if he doesn't have it, his opening hand like is a clue, but it's not anything direct. Like it could be Oasis Surger.
I like Gallon's facial expression there. He's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the best draw that he could have gotten.
It's just the goods.
Right, that's even better than Starfall because now he doesn't have to Starfall and still gets board presence.
I want to kill the lackey.
I don't think this is a particularly very threatening lackey.
Every lackey is a threatening lackey.
Yes, but you know that there's another lackey in hand.
True.
I wonder.
But he's 5 out of 6.
Okay. Okay, I do want to kill the Khadgar at the very least. I'm not sure why. Is it just an irrational fear based off all the mage metas we've had?
Probably. There's only one summon effect that can come down before
It's like
7.
Giggling Inventor.
Yeah. Oh wait, former champ.
Oh yes. Okay.
It's not played in. Oh no, it is played. Yeah, you want to kill a Khadgar? Khadgar and Lackey probably. Ah, former champ would be sick with Khadgar. I like the choice here from Gallon.
Yeah, I think he was figuring out the same thing we were at the same speed.
So you're telling me we're Grandmaster level players? Well, we have 2 minds and he has 1.
So 2 of us.
2 of us with full knowledge of Purple's hand.
Wow, that is a really interesting imperial measurement. 2 Grandmasters casters equals 1 gallon.
How many liters are in a gallon?
I don't know. Like 2? No, 4.
What to do?
No, probably 2. I don't know. A liter's I drink 1 liter bottles.
Have some conviction, Dan. The answer was, who cares?
Who cares? Now go walk a mile.
Yes. I love me some feet.
So this was an interesting play here from Purple. Neither of the minions that he retrieved from the Barista Lynchin was particularly very good. For one thing, his quest is finished, so questing explores 2-mana 2/3, but the mind control tech is also not that great.
It's good against King Feoris.
It is good against King Feoris, but that's so far down the line, and also, he has another mind control tech.
Well, he could, if King Feoris summons a full board, he could Hero Power, Mind Control Tech, and steal 4 minions.
Right, but that's like 4 turns. You're just gonna wait and not play anything.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I get why it's good to have those 2 mind control techs.
Waits for no one.
I mean, even though Gallon gets the Feoris,
He has
he doesn't have
1,
any
2
spells.
Yeah. The ultimate punish to the double mind control tech keep
Jewels of the sun.
is an unlucky draw from the Druid.
I think this might be like Purple going to invest into the board right now. Wasp trade.
Is that the same sound as Omega Devastator?
Sounds like it, yeah. It feels like it too. It hits for 6. That is quite the spicy meatball. Ferocious Howl. Gallon trying to get to that King Feoris.
Oh, is he gonna load up some loadies? Oh,
Just loading the loadies.
oh, that's so good. +2 spell damage on board. It's a 6/3 Wrath, or 6/3 swipe. A 5/3 Wrath. Wait, no, 4. What am I saying?
I don't know.
It is a 5/3 Wrath.
What to do?
8 damage Wrath, that's all I know.
Yeah. And a 1,000,000 damage swipe.
So Purple can slosh, but he can't Hero Power and play both the slosh and immediately Wasp.
You belong to the bomb now.
So he holds on to the lackey. Gets a faceless lackey.
Do you load up another Lodi?
I'm also thinking about swipe and nourish this turn.
Yeah, I think you probably want the flute for King Ferris again.
Maybe. We know that mind control tech exists in the hand. So I think that Gallon is okay with quality over quantity. Always. You'd rather have just like two hidden Oasis and a Starfall and summon 3 minions instead of just like a Wrath, a Swipe, a Ferocious Howl. I want to do all the things and dump all the cheaper spells.
Yep.
So Nourish here is my first instinct, and then most likely Swipe. I would even play like the Power of the Wild if I draw it, and then do I want to push face? Your opponent knows, or you know that they have a lackey in hand and they bounce back, which implies that they have something they combo it with. So maybe you do keep the stealth.
Ooh, Cenarius too.
Yes. Swipe to the face. It's hard to pass up 8 damage.
That can be made up with life trinkers though, and as long as you keep threatening spell damage, eventually you're just gonna run away with the board and maybe force the healing out earlier. You gotta wait for the right time.
I don't disagree.
Ooh!
Okay, questing Explorer into the Shaper, into the Mutate. Can squeeze in a couple of other things too. Hex Lord Malacras comes out.
The right way.
Not gonna be super impactful. Okay, so this Wrath will nuke Malacras back to the Loa where he came from.
You may want a Ferocious Howl first, because if you hit Starfall, you'd want to use that over Wrath, right?
I think you want to dump the hand. I think you, like, now that you have 2 hidden Oasis, you actually do want Wrath to be played. So that way you just play first and play 2 6-drops with it.
This is so much just raw power in hand.
Interesting that he's wrathing the cheaper minion and not the Malacras. I mean, he's just pointing at it. It doesn't necessarily mean he'll do it. Or it could be a spectator thing. Okay.
This would force trades before the mind control text, because you wouldn't even have space.
He knows mind control tech exists.
Blatant decoy!
Oh my. That's a 6-mana Death Rattle minion that says each player summons the lowest cost minion.
Which would be the fluked Feoris.
So this is a 2-turn lethal setup from Gallon, but he knows there's mind control tech in the hand.
Engaging TC-130.
But he doesn't know about this mind control tech.
Ooh, got the low.
Oh boy. One more steal. Steal's the big one. But you know the Scribe. The Eccentric Scribe, which a Death Rattle summons 4 1/1s. Still pretty good. This is also a really big board to deal with. And then Gallon wants to play the King Feoris plus
Oasis Surger.
Oasis Surger.
What to
Probably. You lose the same amount of stats with both Oasis. Oh no, you lose slightly more with the Cenarius, because you get 8/8 in stats by itself. Oasis Surger, you gain only plus, well, you lose 7 + 7 + 7 on its battle cry.
I think Purple wants to free up the board space too. So trading in 2 of these 2/3s is perfectly fine. Passes. Double mind control tech used. Chef Nomi drawn. Gallon wants to accelerate the game plan here significantly. If he plays Feoris, gets 1, 2, 3, 4 minions, so you'll have 6 minions on the board. Not enough board space for the Eccentric Scribe to summon the Venture Scrolls.
Yeah, he could try and clean up the board with like Ferocious Howl, Wrath, and Oasis Surger. But then the Blatant Decoy would be able to be traded in, and then he loses his Floop. So...
Our power is in our people.
Spark Drill.
Spark Drill.
That's interesting, because now that allows to trade,
And he can
and
clean
now
up.
he can play the Surger. Before he couldn't.
Yeah. And now Blatant Decoy will only summon a Spark.
That's funny.
That's so good! What the heck? He could trade it in and get a free Spark.
Also pulls up the Lackey. Lackey's not small at all, though. And Gallon with a chess-like setup of knowing Purple had the Mind Control tech, setting up for the Feoris, navigating this fairly brilliantly, I gotta say. Everything going according to the Keikaku. Ethereal Lackey off the top. Can he get a spell that's impactful in this position? I'm looking at Lightning Storm.
Nothing but power.
Forked Lightning.
Forked Lightning, a much more concentrated version of Lightning.
But it can be.
Stormbringer, 1 mana off.
So Hex here in this spot has to be the pick.
For the Eccentric Scribe.
For the Eccentric Scribe, Goblin Lackey, push to the 4/6, trades.
Oh, is he going for the... He might go for the Shutterwalk.
Shutterwalk?
Farsight.
Okay.
I said earlier that if I'm given Farsight on from Ethereal Lackey, I almost always choose it if I don't have Shutterwalk in my hand, just for the odd chance that I get it. It has to be a really convincing option otherwise.
Sure.
Ice Lightning board, 9 damage on board for Gallon, +4 from Scenarios or Swipe.
That swipe is nasty.
Oh man.
That is a dirty swipe. And he could even build the board behind it too. He can play Swipe and Hidden Oasis. I think I would also heavily consider swiping the Wasp, so that way they can't bounce it back with a Slosher of some kind. I don't know if I'm as concerned about Mind Control tech anymore, given that you've already played both of your Feoris boards.
Yeah, it would be Mind Control tech from the Shutterwalk.
Time waits for no one.
Also Swipe, trade over one of the Mind Control techs with the Eccentric Scribe, and then Hidden Oasis the Eccentric Scribe. So that way the Mind Control techs on board don't trade into the Hidden Oasis. But it looks like he's going to prioritize just straight up base damage.
Just push the damage.
I mean, he's
Just kill him.
if Purple doesn't kill Eccentric Scribe, he dies from Scenarios Eccentric Scribe. If he does kill it, then he dies from the Vengeful Scrolls and the Scenarios.
Well, that
Oh,
doesn't
life
make him
drinker.
die just yet. Okay, the taunts help too. Life Drinker. Can also mutate. I mean, right now Purple is hanging in there, but Gallon is very close to wrapping this one up.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty much Purple's entire hand, if not absolutely his entire hand if he decides to mutate.
And then hoping that Shutterwalk wraps it up here.
Yeah.
I think we mutate and then use whatever the 5-mana minion is to taunt up with the Titanic Lackey. Mutate. Give those Murlocs some wings. Well, I guess in this case it's a giant mosquito.
Maybe he thinks the only way he wins is Shutterwalk and he wants to mutate on the Shutterwalk.
Worthy Expedition. Pretty decent draw options here. I think the best one is, well, I was gonna say Nourish, but Oasis Surger is pretty sick too.
Yeah.
The reason why I say Nourish is because it gets them closer to Chef Nomi. Chef Nomi means he close out the game, but Oasis Surger with Scenarios in hand, a great choice. Tending Tauren also viable. You can Tending Tauren and Wrath. I think Oasis Surger is better because it's a very clean kill.
Scenarios is just the absolute most power on board.
Sure.
And then he can use Scenarios to help his minions push through next turn.
Yeah, that's fine too.
What's the draw? Novice Engineer for purple.
Needs something big.
I hope you like my invention.
Giggling Inventor.
Former champ.
Needs to mutate and get a taunt.
Sting like a bee. Sting like a bee.
Oh,
Gets a taunt.
It looks
But
like he's
that's still dead. Yeah, very much so. The Oasis Surger helps push past, which is smart, giving it a rush to get past the taunt. Gallon taking game number 1 over his buddy Purple, former teammates on Gamers Origin. As Gallon off to a pretty good start this series, and I think that goes to show you why I think Druid does have the edge over the Shaman, given that Shaman, a lot of his tools are pieces that deal with pieces of Druid.
Yeah.
And Druid has things that answer like a lot of Shaman cards. You just get so much value in like a 2-for-1 every time.
Yeah, I think that was the matchup we practiced the most in our caster sessions earlier this week, and we came to the same conclusion. It just felt like Shaman needed a lot of extra things in order to get past the finish line, like a lot of spell discovers from, a lot of earthquakes from Ethereal Lackeys, effectively, is what it took. But outside of that, it just seems like you fall too far behind because they can explode on the board way too often.
All right, well, that's going to be game number 1 here in this best of 3. When we come back, we're going to find out what happens next in the Purple versus Gallon chapter.
My name is Sam Braithwaite, and I'm the Senior Global Franchise Lead for Hearthstone Esports. This event was especially cool because it takes place right after the brand new expansion, Rise of Shadows. Historically in Hearthstone Esports, we do our big events like this towards the end of an expansion cycle, but we really wanted to shake things up and really showcase that not only is the world champion the person who can pilot the best decks, but also the person who, when presented with a brand new game, can put together the best decks leading into the World Championship. Cheers to you guys, the sold-out crowd here for the HCT 2019 World Championship.
Welcome back to 2019 HCT World Championship.
We've had a lot of fun games, and we're looking forward to the grand finals. Showdown. Viper versus Hunter Race. Only one can be the champion. Oh, come on!
Match be dead.
Wacko pick a Vince coming out from Hunter Race.
It's now or never. Arch-villain Rafar.
Okay! In a completely solved game, Hunter Race finds a way to maximize his chances. It's been a wonderful journey throughout the past few years of the Hearthstone Championship Tour, where stars were made and dreams came true.
Hearthstone Esports is home to many competitive formats, each with their own unique variants and rules. Today, we're going to break down one of them, the Shield Phase Conquest format. And here's how it works. To start, both players bring 4 decks, each from a unique class. The match starts with a shield phase. This is where both players choose one of their own decks to protect, making it ineligible to be banned. Once the protect phase has ended, both players will then ban one of their opponent's decks, removing it from the pool. Each player then selects which of their remaining decks they would like to play first before beginning the first game of the series. When the first game of the series is over, the winner's deck is removed from their pool of eligible decks. Both players then select the next deck they would like to play. The loser of the first game can choose to replay with the deck they lost with, or they can choose one of their other 2 available decks. In best of 3 conquests, the first player to 2 wins is the victor. In best of 5 series, such as those in the semifinals or finals of major events, the first player that makes it to 3 wins takes the W. It's that easy. Shield Phase Conquest allows players to showcase their skill set across different classes, while still giving them the opportunity to play the deck they're most confident with. Now that you've got the download on Shield Phase Conquest, we wish you well on your deck building adventures.
Coming up next, we got Purple staying on the Shaman, and we'll see if it can take down the Warrior, as Warrior's been quite the targeted class this weekend. I feel like Warrior hasn't been performing really well, at least from first glance. Warrior's been protected a lot. It's been banned a handful of times, but it's also been losing a lot on stream, TJ. What do you think that is?
I don't really know. I think a lot of players went with Bomb Warrior this week, maybe expecting more mirror matchups. But Bomb Warrior has kind of gone down in power level a little bit because of the lack of Highlander decks. I think he was capitalizing on Highlander decks quite a bit.
I feel like, from my perspective, it's that the rise of Druid and people figuring out Shaman and a few other things it feels like Warrior just isn't as well positioned to be as dominant as it was before.
That's true. I mean, it still has Priest as a good matchup. It still has Zoo as a good matchup. I'm still not convinced that Druid is favored. I think players are figuring it out, but I think that Control Warrior, if they use their removal correctly, should be able to beat Druid, unless, of course, they're playing Chef Nomi, which then it becomes hard because they have an additional wave of threats at the end of the game.
Gallon mulliganed away like French Caliber and all these like mid-game things to play because he wants early game board presence.
And find some with both Eternium Rover and Frightened Flunky.
And the Alec and the Omega Devastator. He's got a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Of course it's the right way.
Now he just needs our coin Armageddillo. He's good to go. Or French Caliber, that works too. And Purple's hand is weird. This is probably going to be a sloshed questing explorer here. Just to draw deeper, because double mutate, not the greatest against Warrior. You just want straight up value, at least in the beginning of the game.
Well, if you play Frightened Flunky, you're giving value to your opponent. Well, until you get Frightened Flunky number 2, in that case, it doesn't actually become that much of a value trade. Because you do end up, in a way, having only half the card killed. You still have to invest the mana, of course. But Purple doing, one of my opinions is a really underrated play, which is Bog Slosher on the Questing Explorer. I think people look at Bog Slosher as a combo card, but when you piece it with Questing Explorer, you actually get some pretty decent tempo options. And that's why Gallon bumping with the Eternium Rover,
super important.
Super important. That actually might be one of the plays, the foundational plays. If Gallon wins and gets damage in because the Frightened Flunky survives,
yeah,
that might be like something that comes back later on.
Of course it's the right way.
Now this Frightened Flunky gets to attack again.
Ooh, Sandstorm Elemental.
Yeah. I would also consider using Mutate in this position too, but obviously it's just only just to think about it.
Yeah. But Gallon's curving out quite nicely here. Can Towncrier make Augmented Elic in this position? And kill off the Questing Explorer. Augmented Elic not challenged on board, and he'll be able to protect his board with Rush Meeting next turn. So Purple's starting to fall a little bit far behind on board. I guess this is one of the benefits that Bomb Warrior gives you, and one of the benefits of Gallon's aggressive mulligan for all of his cheap stuff. Is that he can fight for board early, which may force Purple to use some of these cards in order to try and get back onto the board instead of to generate value or to push damage. Does have a couple of big mutate targets coming up on the 6 and 7 turns with former champ Indie Giggling Inventor. So he's got some ways to really get back on board in a big way. There may be some argument to holding on to former champ for a turn if he picks up something playable next turn, because he's at 5 to 6 for his quest, and that extra 5/5 could make a big difference in his quest to fight back on the board.
Restless Mummy seems pretty good in this spot.
What now?
Trying to think about any other alternatives instead of the Restless Mummy. I think you could make a case for Frightened Flunky.
I must choose.
This looks good to me, though.
Yeah.
Post-quest is something to consider as well. What does the board look like when my opponent finishes the quest on 6? Around now is when Quest Shaman tends to finish the quest as well.
Yeah. Purple gonna hold for quest for the former champ, which I think the Mocha Flesh Shaper.
Whoa!
Nice. Super nice. Also nice.
Very big.
Very cool.
Walking Fountain. I mean, that's just that has got to be close to nuts. Another Frightened Flunky, a Megadillo with 2 Mordants in hand, and Rotten Apple Bomb, which doesn't seem to be highly impactful right now. DJ, that's what I'm telling you. The mutate,
I wonder.
the cheese. It's so strong. Another 2 Mordant offered as well for Gallon.
Yeah.
Can't really fill out the mana curve. I think the Frightened Flunky was potentially a mana curve pickup.
Yeah, his next few turns are pretty slated. So the Armageddillo would have been like a weaker play on board to invest in the future. I don't know. I think he maybe thinks that he can't afford for that to be the case.
Second mutate.
Nice.
Undasta. Now, Undasta doesn't actually do anything right now. It won't pull out a minion, and the rush effect is not impactful. But think about this. Purple played a free, not a free, but played a 7 mana rusher, which evolved to an 8 mana rusher, which evolved to a 9 mana rusher. Just thinking about that makes me giggle. This looks like a brawl opportunity here for Gallon.
Yeah, it's a lot of big stuff and a lot of small stuff, which is a recipe for a brawl.
Does he want to Frighten Flunky and then brawl? He increases the chances that 4 out of 6 ends up being a good outcome for Gallon.
Yeah, and playing the Frightened Flunky afterwards is not that much of like a reload onto the board. So
yeah, 4 out of 6 is 2/3, 67% versus just 3 out of 5. You get to get a small percentage boost. You might think that's not a big deal, but it kind of is. And so Gallon has probably the best totem survive for him because healing totem isn't super impactful. Purple struggling a little bit here.
yeah,
But
Slurper can help. Goblin and Titanic.
that's one way for the totem to get in there. I like it.
Yeah.
I think it's time to start going in. I think Goblin Lackey and Weaponized Wasp, Hero Power Giggling Inventor. Ideally, you pick up a Barista somewhere in between then, but I'm not holding my breath for the potential of what I draw next turn. I'm using with what I got right here, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mega Healing Totem.
So the awkward next turn, because he is overloaded 1 because of Sludge Surfer, so he can't Hero Power Giggling Inventor.
Oh, you're right.
But I don't think that he really cares that much, because he needed something this turn. He didn't want to just play a Giggling Inventor. That Healing Totem's never dying.
So Warpath here is also fairly interesting. You could try to argue that it's useful, but he has 3 Tomb Wardens, and we've been seeing a lot of warriors die with Tomb Wardens in hand, TJ.
Yeah.
You do jam a lot of stats onto the board. No lackeys are being held. All cards that's currently being held by purple are ones that are from his deck. What's the worst case scenario if your opponent plays Shutterwalk?
Whoa, okay.
Okay, well, bombs also are pretty impactful too. Oh, just in the nick of time. How did he know?
Now, this does give an opening for purple to use the Mind Control tech.
Engaging TC1.
Which steals 2, likely to be 2 bombs.
Yeah, I think this is Gallon's attempt to do the same thing he did in the previous game, which is... Oh, that's a big snipe. The way I read it is that Gallon is trying to go for the exhaust plan, similar to what he did last game.
Yeah.
Like, Shaman gasses out.
Yeah. Seeing Mind Control tech opens him up. Also, is kind of this weird card that's been sitting in the hand for some time.
Yeah, and you know what? This is really good thing for Gallon to just kind of like stop being so afraid of the Mind Control tech. Force it out, let it happen. It's gonna be a thing. And yes, you can play around it, but you can also play right through it. Sometimes forward is the best direction.
What now?
That was so beautiful.
It's actually a very good life lesson, if anything.
I think you can cut out.
Gallon's seen some stuff.
I think you can cut out the sometimes.
I must choose.
Forward is the best direction.
Yeah. Because sometimes it's like, well, sometimes it is. Sometimes backwards is the best direction.
It rarely is, though. No attacks. Interesting. That is indeed interesting. Purple with the Novice Engineer again. Big draw.
I hope you like my invention.
Yeah, just needs to find resources. There's Shutterwalk.
Shutterwalk finds the Barista. But, well, Barista on the Novices aren't bad.
Yeah?
Let's find out what happens here.
Well, they hit the bombs.
The bombs hit the bombs, which hit the other bombs, which hit the rovers. Call that one a wash. Purple can play the Flesh Shaper and kill one of these two Wardens. You know, I said that the Healing Totem surviving is like the best outcome for Gallon, but I'm starting to take that back. Healing Totem is like really annoying when you start buffing it.
Yeah, it is.
He legitimately might Omega Devastate with this. At first, I think we first look at the assembly.
Another Tomb Warden.
Okay.
Wow. I mean, pretty good options. I think another Omega Devastator probably would have been good, but Vicious Scrap Hound's decent. Tomb Warden's good. Clockwork Goblin, when you're already playing bombs in your deck, is good.
It's just so funny that everything is one giant recursive loop to get Tomb Warden. Flunky discovers Taunts, which is what Tomb Warden is. Big Assembly discovers Mechs, which is what Tomb Warden is. Delivery Drone gives you a Tomb Warden. There's just so many ways you can keep getting Tomb Wardens. It's quite amusing to me.
Yeah.
Mind Control Tech. Giggling Inventor first, though. Load the board tension a little bit. But that's where Warpath can finally shine. Or will they? Dr. Boom, mad genius. A huge pickup here for Gallon.
Yeah, and I think this is like a perfect turn to be able to play it. There's very little power on board. You have Warpath to kind of back this up if you need it, which I don't even think this board warrants it. And 2 Mordants now have Rush, so...
The Microbots. The bomb being drawn. Now, Purple's not out of this game by any means.
Yeah.
That's not a good draw, though. So Purple has Barista, which is not great. I think this might be one of 2 things. One, Purple dumps his hand and then Shutterwalk refills it, or he Shutterwalks right now.
I mean, he could Barista and make an endless chain of Giggling Inventors.
Sure.
But that's not forwarding his game plan very much. It just makes Shutterwalk summon a board full of Annoyatrons.
Right.
Which, you know...
It's good if he has the spells in the hand to like really capitalize onto it, like a Bloodlust. I've actually seen some Quest Shamans incorporate one of Bloodlust into their lists. I think I saw it in Asia Pacific mainly. And that was a way for them to capitalize on things like Giggling Inventor.
Yeah, I think that Purple still has so many high-value cards in his deck with Barista that I do like holding on to it, but for the same reason, it's why I like holding on to Shutterwalk. He has both Evil Cable Rats and a Sludge Slurper still left in his deck. And a Weaponized Wasp and a Life Drinker. Like,
this is too much.
There's so many fantastic things. But he needs to find them like now, because he can't fall behind on board, because then all those things are going to have less and less impact.
What's the bump on the Omega Devastator?
Warpath.
Got it.
This
Yeah,
would be a
Warpath
good
3
time for a
times, I
master
guess.
plan.
Oh, it's a very clever bump. It makes Warpath very awkward.
Yep. But the Microbots plus 2 Morden here is fine.
Yes. Especially since Microtech was used. Now, Microtech's effect still comes into play when there are battle cries invested to the Shaman pool, but now Gallon gets to actually launch an offensive and restrict his board to 3 minions.
Yeah, there's still 2 bombs left in the deck.
Okay. Evil Cable Rat.
Yep.
Purple might think he's gonna die though if he doesn't play the Shutterwalk, so goes for it. Handful of Battlecry's not doing anything, as you can see. Drawing cards, sloshing. Ugh, a lot of Garbo coming down. Not even a lackey to capitalize onto it. That was one of the most mediocre Shutterwalks I've seen in a hot minute, TJ.
Yeah. It's going to be tough for Purple to win,
Oh,
I think.
It's going to get a lot worse, too.
Wow.
Our Mega Dillo. Now, I think... Wait, hold on. We forgot one thing.
What?
Which is that Purple is banking on the fact that Shutterwalk lives, and then he gets the Barista.
Ah.
But Gallon with the 2 Morden should be able to deal with it. It was a good idea.
Yeah.
A very good idea. And now when he sees the Frightened Flunky create 2 Morden, that's when I think Purple's gonna be like, okay, I think you got me.
There was so many things that killed it there, though. Right?
Sure, yeah, and it could have been any kind of other removal.
With Dr. Boom active, every mech has Rush, so a large number of things could help push through to get there.
That being said, Weaponized Wasp and Life Drinker with Barista Lynching is still a lot of damage.
Yeah, and he had, again, Lackey Generation still left in the deck.
Right.
Which means that, you know, there's a possibility, right? That the ultimate Barista Lynching play, as we've mentioned multiple times, is the Hero Power triple Kobold Lackey Barista, and then the next turn Hero Power 6 Kobold Lackey for 36 damage over 2 turns. Purple is going to be able to get some face damage here.
Yeah, if he wants to invest the Wasp so he can get the damage, but if he does this, I think I would have liked the Life Drinker slightly better.
He actually holds on to the Wasp, I think. He's trying to look for Barista value, like maximum Barista value. But the Weaponized Wasp and Barista is hard to use unless Weaponized Wasp sticks on board, because your Weaponized Wasp and Barista fills up your entire mana after using hero power.
Yep. Keep in mind, by the way, that there's still 2 bombs in Purple's deck.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of bomb cards left in Gallon's deck. He has both Clockwork Goblins left in his deck. The one that he played was a from a Mega Assembly. He also has an Augmented Elec and a Excalibur. So, with Shudderwalk used, there's just the 6 healing left from the Life Drinker. And maybe an Ethereal Lackey from the last Sludge Slipper or Evil Totem.
I wonder if Gallon should have considered also taking out the Lackey, but he knows that there's 2 other Lackeys in the hand. More Lackeys.
All right.
If he gets Cobalt Lackeys, Purple's very much in this game. He's probably even favored to win.
I mean, Ethereal's also good.
Ethereal's potentially good. From nothing. Okay, Ethereal's very good. Stormbringer.
Oh.
When you have 2 Faceless Lackeys, you just hero power Faceless Lackey twice and Bloodlust.
Oh. Farsight not good here. He's already deep into his deck, and his cards are mediocre that are left.
I think I'm tossing in some of these battle cries, because now I actually have a legitimate game plan outside of ending the game through Life Drinkers and Shudderwalk. Lysiana, not an important card here whatsoever.
Probably Delivery Drone. Oh, no, he can't Delivery Drone Warpath. Oof.
Could, if you can guarantee a 2-mana mech that could kill the board after 3 Warpaths. Snip Snap. Snip Snap. That's so good, right?
2 Snip Snaps.
So
doesn't even clear off the Weaponized Wasp.
It does if he Warpaths once.
Oh yeah, Warpath once, double trade.
I like that. I think you have to clear the board. It's starting to get really scary. You know that your opponent just double Ethereal Lackeyed. And that's actually what we were talking about earlier.
What? Okay. No board clear.
No board clear, no board clear.
He's gonna invest the Snip Snap probably next turn.
Right. That makes sense. Get the value off the Warpath while you can. Snip Snap afterwards. Purple has the double Faceless Lackey and the Stormbringer. Mortal Prelate.
Oh, it's gonna get Stormbringer.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Fun though.
Very fun. Stormbringer.
What's in the box?
Prophet Valen, Tyrion.
Tyrion!
Wait, 2 Prophet Valens.
What?
I mean,
You're good.
this brawl
What?
has a lot of potential to backfire.
I mean, just the Tyrion alone is that Ashbringer is going to be insane. There is no weapon removal in Gallon's deck, I don't believe. No Harrison, no Weapons Project.
He needs to brawl.
Has to brawl.
He wants to hope that, like, Elise or Lord Godfrey survive. But Purple might be able to end the game anyways if he has a big minion survive and Tyrion dies. Big minion survive and Tyrion died.
Can find Omega Devastator?
That will clean it up. No, there's no 2 mana cost minions. There's only 3 mana cost.
Oh my goodness.
12 plus the 6 from Life Drinker is 18 plus the Bog Slosher.
Can find it with
Sludge Slurper.
Sludge Slurper. If he doesn't kill the Piloted Reaper, he could die with Magnetic plus bombs. I guess not if you're playing Life Drinker. No, you can't die. 2 bombs in the deck.
But he might not play. He might play like Giggling Inventor instead.
Hey, I guess Giggling Inventor would be a protect also, though.
Oh, that's gotta be lethal, right?
That's gotta be.
4 damage. Plus 6 is 10, plus 5 is 15, plus 7 is 22. Plus the Lackey for extra measure.
Wow.
The Shaman
Just Life Drinker is lethal.
Belong to the bomb now.
It was 6 plus the 7 on board from the Velen.
Sure. I mean, this is also multiple paths to victory here for Purple.
Yeah.
Tied series. Gallon taking it in stride. Kind of chuckling knowing that Purple played to his outs. The Ethereal Lackey getting the spell that he needed.
He's probably typing to him right now. You can see Purple type. Probably some friendly banter going on between the two. Because that was a really funny game. It felt like Purple was behind the whole time. And then gets some lackeys, gets a Stormbringer, goes off, and picks up some very good tools, very good legendaries.
I'd like to be a weaponized wasp on that wall.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess that's close. Life Drinker also would have worked.
Sure.
Trying to give you notes on your puns here.
Yeah, but it's funnier because it's like a really long and complicated way to say fly on the wall.
I guess so.
Yeah. TJ, I'm trying here, okay?
No,
I'm contributing.
8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
All right, your turn.
That was good. I don't have any.
Exactly. 8 beats a 0. Last time I checked.
Well, I didn't make an attempt, so it's not 0 out of 10.
We're still waiting to see the Zoo Warlock Protect and Zoo Warlock Ban come into fruition here for Gallon. With Quest Shaman gone, and with Zoo Warlock Ban, that means Control Warrior and Quest remains.
There we go.
If this is the case, Purple might be playing Warrior right back.
Very possible.
Because he shouldn't play Druid. Oh, gosh.
Well, okay, it was a toss-up, right?
No, because it would have been a Warrior versus Warrior.
Where Gallon is, I would say, quite heavily favored.
Oh, wait, it is Bomb Warrior, so it's not nearly as clean. Yeah, I wrote down here for some reason that Gallon's playing a Control Warrior when he's playing a Bomb Warrior.
No, I would say that Gallon is a pretty big favorite in the Warrior mirror.
Yes, I would say so too.
Yeah. So, I don't know if it's this much. I don't know if it's more unfavored for Purple than Druid versus Warlock, though.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the worst matchups, I think.
Yeah, it's hard because Zoo Warlock can reasonably kill you before you even finish your quest. It's happened to me. TJ saw it.
Yeah, I've seen it. This version, I don't think does it as consistently unless they have just all the goods.
So here's a question: Do you mulligan the Voidwalker? Voidwalker isn't the pressure you want.
Yeah.
He keeps one. So this is where I think we can start arguing, TJ.
So, okay, with this lineup, I think it's probably right because the amount of proactive one-drops he has is limited. He only has Flame Imp. He'd be throwing it away for just Flame Imp. All of his other one-drops have one attack, just like Voidwalker.
So you're saying because of his deck list, he doesn't have a way to improve his mulligan that much more.
Yes, he could look for like 2s, impactful 2s. Like Evil Genius, but then he would need a 1 to activate those Evil Genius. So I like the Voidwalker. It still is damage. It also is an investment onto the board that Purple does want to kill that could protect his other minions. And now Neferset Thrash is going to hit the board. There's a Grim Rally in hand. Gallon's going to start to giddy on up, and this might be a
quick one.
Might be a quick one.
This is bad news. So I think Purple, so this is something that I've seen Druid players do. I think you should go off the curve from your quest.
I think you bees there.
Yeah. Except the bees get stopped by the Voidwalker.
It gets stopped by the Voidwalker, but
he also has Starfall in hand.
It limits so much damage, right? I mean, maybe the Crystal Merchant absorbs some damage.
Oh, this hurt.
Nope. Crystal Merchant not doing anything. And this is a lethal setup for next turn.
Right. Purple has the bees.
Bees plus the hit. This is 9.
11 plus 4 is 15. Beast Sergeant's lethal. This might be a really fast one.
There it is.
Beast Sergeant was lethal.
What a well-fought game for game 2. Woo! But game 3, Gallon just going to giddy on up. Is
Wait,
it
am I
though?
missing? Oh no, I think it's 1 off.
Is it 1 off?
9, 10, 11 plus. Oh no, it's 1 off. Yeah, right. Oopsie daisies. Either way,
Oh yeah, it's exactly 15, but it's very, very close.
very, very close. Very, very close.
Quest is complete though, but is Starfall
Isn't
enough?
Starfall isn't enough, I think.
He Starfall's the Neferset Thrasher.
Right.
Trades. Yeah, it's not enough.
He would have to have the defender. What if he Oasis Surger? Kill. Nope. What about Wardrobe Lodi and Wrath? Kills that.
Then has a taunt in the way.
No, he needs to. There's nothing he can really pick up. He's gonna try, but like anything that like Lodri has to come out of stealth mode.
Yeah.
Then he just kills and then he just like attacks.
Yeah.
I've seen this happen so many times.
Turn 6.
Turn 6 kill. And Gallon's just gonna cruise to a 2-1 victory. Zoo Warlock's role is specifically this, just to kill and punish a Druid. And, you know, Purple finished the quest, but he died.
Yeah.
That's gonna wrap up game number 3. It's a terrible matchup. The statistics heavily favor Zoo Warlock. So even if Purple took some of the lines that we were talking about, which is like, oh, you know, maybe you don't finish the quest, you bees, chances are he's dead.
Maybe Purple's supposed to Q Warrior there. You take a slightly unfavored mirror over the potential for Zoo versus Druid.
He's doing it for us.
Yeah, if you play Warrior, you either get a really good matchup with Zoo, or you, well, I mean, that's arguable, but he has Control Warrior, which I think is much better against Zoo than Bomb Warrior. You have way more removal options. Or you pick a very, very unfavorable.
Let's ask Gallon then.
Let's ask Gallon.
Let's see what he thinks.
Let's see what he thinks.
As we'll momentarily get Gallon on the line here. Gallon went from 0-2 to 2-2 this week.
Nice, 2-0 week.
2-0 week.
And next week he's going to get a 1-1 week because that'll complete the trifecta.
That's right.
For his first 3 weeks in Grandmasters.
Yeah, then you get like an achievement, right? It's like a quest.
Something like that.
Do a little bit of everything.
Yep.
Yeah. Also important to note that he is playing that deck list of Zoo Warlock that other people have been saying are not that good. The Grim Rally Zoo Warlock is something that I have personally felt a little less hot on these days.
Yeah.
I feel like it really doesn't lack a lot of that finishing tool. If anything, I've been more supportive of Highlander Warlock these days.
Yeah. His is a little different from like Race's list that we saw earlier because he doesn't play the Spirit Bomb. Instead, he plays the Abusive Sergeant. So it gives him a little more
extra burst.
Less
board.
Yeah, less board.
Less masochism.
Yes, less Disease Vulture synergy, I suppose.
Sure, but you're less all in on that. I feel also like a lot of times when I'm playing Zoo Warlock, I take way too much damage trying to, like, way too much self damage.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost to the point where I'm just scared to play against a hunter because I like naturally lower myself within critical ranges of health.
Yeah.
It's like I life tap a few times, I play a couple Disease Vulture synergy. They play Eagle Horn Bow and I die.
Yeah, it was like the old Handlock versus Face Hunter matchup where both players are trying to kill the Warlock.
It was like whether or not you had Molten Giant and Sun Fury Protector.
Yeah. And playing around those. That was actually a fun matchup because it was on a knife's edge. It was a quick matchup that was on a knife's edge that you had to put the Warlock just within range so they couldn't play Mountain Giant taunt it up, but enough to set up lethal for self next turn.
Right.
Again, reminiscing. A lot of nostalgia today, Dan.
Sure. I also wanted to say that people who trash on the Thrash, you know.
Oh, the Neversit Thrasher.
Yeah, they always say like, it does so much damage, it's nothing. It's a 3-mana 4/5. It kills stuff.
Yeah, it does.
Specifically their opponent's life total. Let's go ahead and check in with Gallon. He's ready for an interview. Gallon, you there?
All right. Hey guys, apparently I'm having some audio issues, so I have to like lean into my mic right now. So if I look awkward on camera, that's why. I'm also awkward on camera, so
sure, that's why. That's why, Gallon.
I think we're having trouble hearing you a little bit. I think you need to lean in a little bit closer to the microphone.
Is this better, TJ?
Yeah, that's good. That's perfect, actually.
Wow, yeah. Please. No.
Okay, I actually have a lot of questions for you guys because I feel like Game 1 and Game 3 there was like a lot of decisions. Game 1, I definitely did not nail all of them. Like not killing the MC tech came back to bite me like so hard, and it was just a brain fart. I'm not gonna lie, but there's a lot of things you could have done that game. I think I had a draw that should have always won, and there was definitely percentage that I threw in that game. So like, if either you guys spotted something that was just awful, or if anyone on Twitter spotted something that was awful, please let me know.
You're talking about the
really
Warrior versus Shaman game?
Oh no, that was the Druid
versus
Shaman game. Yeah, I got a draw where I should win every single time, and I think I threw like 1 or 2% in that series.
Okay.
And then game three, the mulligan was super interesting as well because like keeping Voidwalker versus Druid kind of sucks. But I had the Nephroset Thrasher, so I figured as long as I hit a 1-drop, I'm fine. Like it's like the problem with Druid, right, is that the only stat that matters is the attack. Because health, like X2s, X3s, they all only die to a Wrath anyways. So like you should just be looking for big stuff. But since I already had the big stuff on turn 3, I figured it was fine to keep the Voidwalker. But
we actually discussed that.
We discussed both of these plays actually on the broadcast. Okay. Specifically with the swipe. I mean, I'm thinking you're talking about the play where you swipe the Wasp instead of the.
No. That might have been one of them, but I traded a 1/1 and a 2/2, and I could have traded the MC Tech. And the next turn
yeah. TJ really wanted you to trade into the Khadgar and the Lackey, right?
I really wanted the Khadgar and the Lackey.
That's what I did, but I don't think it was right because he already has a Lackey anyways. It's just like it was one of those things where my brain was processing. Yeah, Dan, I agree with you. It was wrong. it was bad. Sorry, for some reason I'm just like super excited about the series. Like there's a lot of decisions, but I feel like I have a lot to learn from it. So I'm like gonna.
The Khadgar was 100% correct because you're curving into former champ, which could snowball.
Khadgar dying was good,
That's 100%. The Lackeys, I tend to kill the Lackeys because what if it's like a Lackey that he doesn't want to play for that situation, right? It doesn't have a good scenario to play in that situation.
Thinking.
And Lackeys snowball. If you don't kill this one, then he plays the next one, and then you have 2 to kill.
It's like you give a mana to your opponent.
Yeah, it's exactly.
But I think like it kind of it's like a short-sightedness killing the Lackey there. Like I was pretty short-sighted when I killed the Lackey. I think the long game I'm always going to win as long as I don't give him like extra MC Tech value, and giving him the Barista Lynching into MC Tech was just awful. Like it made a 100% one scenario where I had King Ferris, I had the Floop, I could have drawn into a bunch of expensive spells. Like sometimes I lose if he has a perfect Shutter Walk. And I don't think I could have given him that.
That part wasn't as clear because I think I was distracted by the fact that he also baristed a questing explorer after he finished the quest. We're like, but like after watching it pan out the way it did, it was a really impactful MC Tech.
It's really impactful MC Tech, but it also you entice him more to play Barista, which has, I think, could he have even better uses later on down the line, especially since he's getting back.
Here's the thing. Later on is bad. You want to kill them as soon as possible. I had a King Ferris, so later on is like, get out of here. Like turns 10, 11, 12. I don't want them. I want to kill them turn 9.
All right, you sold me. Let's move on to the next one.
The other play is the Voidwalker mulligan. We looked at your deck list. You're not really improving your 1-drops that much. In other Zoo Warlock decks, we tend to agree. Actually, that was one thing that I asked TJ right in the beginning. I said, do we keep any of these Voidwalkers? But then TJ said, what else are you mulliganing for? Because it's basically Flame Imp, and you only have other chances. And we had the Thresher in hand, so we kind of thought the same thing. Is there, like, what are you going to improve on besides Flame Imp in that situation? Or is it worth going for Flame Imp?
Well, it's kind of like, I'm just not sure if it has the same. Okay, so let me rephrase it. For example, in Priest, you're just going to always hard mulligan for Cleric, right? Northshire Cleric is just so good that you will throw away, like, even above average cards for it. I'm not sure if that's the same thing in Zoo. Like I genuinely do not know if Flame Imp is just so much above the rest that you're supposed to be hard mulliganing for that card.
Statistically, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I like a couple standard deviations above the rest of the 1-drops.
But I think hitting a curve is also good in the matchup, right?
That was my logic.
Because
I felt like since I had the Nephroset.
Yeah, you have the Nephroset.
Cutting you off. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
There's always a slight delay with our interviews.
Here's a reference point. If you keep Voidwalker going on 1, just as average stats, Legend of 25. If you keep Voidwalker in the mulligan against Druid, you have 70% win rate, which is already absurd. If you keep like Crystallizer, it's a 68, 69% win rate. Mekaru, 68% win rate. Flame Imp's almost at 80%. Just to give you a reference of how big of a difference jump it is.
So it's a 10% difference between Flame Imp and Voidwalker.
Of like all the rest of the 1-drops. It's just it's a huge difference.
It's a 10% like So 10% matters way more when you go from 70 to 80 than from like 50 to 60.
Yeah.
Like, at least in terms of win rate, because an 80% win rate means you're winning 4 games to the other person's 1. A 60% means you're winning 3 games to the other person's 2, which is just like...
It's a big jump. It's a big jump.
It's a big jump, yeah.
All right, well, I mean, it's a lot to think about, but overall, you added great discussion. You should try casting sometimes. You might be even good at it.
Gallon interviews are my favorite.
Well done.
Keep winning.
Keep winning. 2-2 for the week, or 2-0 for the week. Any last words, Gallon, before we sign off here?
I'm happy to at least have a 50% win rate, I guess, guys.
Yeah, 100% win rate
the
the
past
past 2
purple
days.
tweet, by the way. I'm looking forward to a purple tweet. So if you guys want to check out Purple's Twitter later.
Did you guys have, and I saw like Purple typing out and then you smiled. Did he type anything to you in mid-series?
No, there's nothing like that. Just check out Purple's Twitter later. All right, thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Gallon.
What was that?
See ya, buddy.
Right.
So there was. That was.
If something being messaged back and forth. I'm sure it's like a screenshot that he's going to save later on.
Yeah. Dan, I hate to break it to you, but he was lying.